Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Nadjejda. I'm Nadjejda Chapoteau. I am an empowerment and confidence coach, spiritual teacher, and speaker. I am passionate about dance. I love, this was actually a song from a fellow Haitian. I am Haitian American. This was Kieswie by Jay Perry. I'm so thankful to him for allowing me to share his music with the world. So, aside from dance, I'm also passionate about social justice, making a difference, specifically empowering women and children in my home in Haiti, and also in other minority groups. I'm passionate about spiritual growth, self-love, love in general, nature. And I'm very much passionate, which is very much in line with my work, empowering women around the world in embracing their authentic self and finding their voice in order to make an impact. I'm a firm believer that in order for you to make an impact in the world, to do what you were brought here to do, because I believe we were all brought here with our own mission, with our own purpose to fulfill. We cannot do so if we're not being our authentic selves. So as a coach, I help ambitious women who want to become influencers, who want to be leaders and impact the world through impacting their communities in causes that matter to them. I help them discover themselves, discover who they are, love who they are, find their voice, uncover their mission and vision, and define their values. Our values are so important. So today I am by myself. As I shared, I'm going to be doing the episodes every other week. I did say twice a month starting. I was doing weekly. Maybe I will go back to weekly sometime soon. But in the meantime, I'm going every other week. And I realized that, well, some months, like this month of March, I actually there's 5 weeks and not 3 weeks. So actually you'll be getting 3 episodes this month. So this is the second episode featuring me, yours truly. So today I want to share some things personal for me and something that actually I have been sort of, I don't want to say struggling with, but I guess that was part of it, where I was really seeking clarity in my business around my purpose. Obviously, I've always known my purpose is to make a difference. A lot of it has shifted over the years in terms of, but getting more and more clarity around it. I had been feeling a certain way regarding who I'm meant to serve, who my message is truly for. Obviously, I know my message resonates with, it may resonate with others who are not leaders, who are not looking to become influencers. But I really have been reflecting a lot on my business. I've been really taking time to meditate and seek guidance and ask, how can I best be of service as God, that's the universe? How can I be of service and use me? So as I shared, because I'm very much passionate about social justice, very much have strong political views and strong views on, social justice and equality. I have always been one, I think I've shared on some of the episodes here, I've brought in guests to talk about these type of topics, because for me, I don't believe, as I'm empowering women and I do talk about the entrepreneurial journey and how to, find your purpose, which is for me is very much in line with my purpose. I specifically said when I was starting this that for me, no topic that matters to humanity is off limits to me. It's off limits to what I want to share with my audience, with my people. So bringing this up, I need to share that. So as I've been really because I felt like something was off. I needed to gain some clarity. So some stuff transpired in the past week, actually less than a week, where I just know like this is what it is. So I really want to give some shout out to some of my sisters in the journey, some women that I met. And actually, both people that I'm going to mention here, I've only just known them a few months. And actually, I haven't even met them in person. One of them, Alexis P. Morgan, was actually, she was actually in a guest on my podcast where we talked about white supremacy, spiritual bypassing, and the law of attraction. And the other one is Tori Patillo, which is a fellow entrepreneur. So these are both Black women. These are women of color that has come into my journey not that long ago, and they've really, they've helped me get that confirmation and clarity. And they don't even know about it actually, because I'm going to be sharing about that publicly tomorrow, when I share this episode. And also I'm going to be sharing about that on social media, which we're Facebook friends. So basically, last week some stuff transpired that started, I think in some way I started reflecting, when there's a lot of stuff that's been happening over the past few years. Obviously, it's just coming up. And I've been doing a lot of reflection, especially in the past year, regarding how I run my business. Who do I want to work with? Who do I want to invest with? Who do I want to work with, not only as clients, but who is it that I want to hire? Who are the people that I want to actually promote? Who are the people that I want to buy from? And so I've been really taking a back seat, obviously being very much present for my clients and for my audience and for people, my friends and people I'm meant to impact, but I'm also been really taking time to do so. So some stuff has transpired in the past week where Tori shared a post on Facebook that had to do with Gabrielle Bernstein. And when I saw her post, I actually was like, oh, you know what? I don't want to get into the details of the post, but pretty much how she did not resonate with her. There was some inauthenticity, Gabby not being willing to stand up when white supremacists walked in Charlottesville, Virginia a few months ago, where really not in some way being actually supporting and being on issue with what's been happening because of not being vocal about it. Because a lot of the leaders in the spiritual world, they think some of us are thinking that we can love and light our way into everything. It's like when they say send thoughts and prayers with what we're seeing right now with the gun violence in the US, which I'm in Miami, Florida, but our leaders are actually not taking steps to do something with gun laws to to ban assault weapons. So either way, after she wrote this blog, it really made me think about, okay, I get why, that's why, I did enjoy and follow Gabrielle Bernstein for a while. At some point I wanted to, and I don't know if I shared that, maybe I shared it on another post in another video in another episode of my podcast, where I shared that in order for me to find my voice, I had to unfollow people that I care about. I had to unfollow them. So Gabrielle Bernstein was actually one of the people that I actually was inspired by her, because she said when she was needing to find her voice, she actually unfollowed Marianne Williamson, which is one of my spiritual teachers as well, one of my biggest ones. So I actually unfollowed her and Marianne, but Marianne I went back to once I found my voice and once I know that I don't sound like any of them, even though we're we're all students of, both, all three of us are students of Course in Miracles, and Marianne and I are very much vocal, and some of our political views are in alignment, some of it in social justice. So, but I never went back and followed Gabby. So I kind of understood why by Tori's post. And I have to say, Tori also, for me, I was challenged by her post, because I really was like, I don't know if, I went through this phase of like, yes, great of you to speak your truth. But I also went into this space of like, well, I don't know if I would have tagged her. I don't know if I would have said all of this, like, and I didn't know if I was in agreement and in alignment with her approach. So in some way, I was also challenged by that, because I have to say, as somebody who is Haitian American, I was born here in the States, but I did not grow up here. I was 2.5 years old when my parents, who are Haitians, decided to go back home. And I've been living, and I came back here, I was 16 years old. I think I was about to even turn 17. So really, in some way, my experience, I can't really say I've experienced much racism, especially, I want to be very honest because I know how it works. I know with my complexion, being in Miami, because I've spent most of the time that I've been back in the States, which is in Miami. So I've only spent about 5 years in DC. And also I grew up in a country, I grew up in my homeland, Haiti, where I grew up being privileged. So I also know what privilege is like. And that's why when people talk about white people being privileged, I know what privilege is like. And I often say it's not just white people who are privileged, because I know, obviously we all have some sort of privilege in a way, well, a lot of us, but I also know what it's like. So in some way, there's been times where, I've, in the past few, months, I've had to, and even more, actually in the past few years, but especially even more, I've had to unpack and do my own work, and really removing, like shedding light on my own biases, towards African Americans, towards other women of color, who were really, in some way, their approach on the racism issue, I felt sometimes were too much, there were too much anger, and maybe even some would call it hate or rage or whatever. And I don't think a lot of it is hate, but I think most of it is anger, it's rage, which is justifiable. So like I said, I was really kind of like feeling like this, and there was a lot of stuff going on. There was this summit where a lot of the women on my news, on my feed, on Facebook, a lot of women of color were saying that the summit didn't have diversity. So there was a lot of things, and I took a break from social media. And when I came back, there, somebody had tagged me. Thank God, I think somebody tagged me in one of the posts, and she said, Nadjejda, follow this thread. And it was about one of my friends, one of my Facebook friends who had said that, she thought A Course in Miracles was a bunch of pretty much nonsense. She used the word, not familiar with the word, English is not my first language, but I Googled it and it basically means nonsense. And the person was like, oh, Nadjejda, I hope you're not going to hate me for this, and she would laugh out loud. And I was like, no, because people know me as somebody who's open. I'm open to discussions. I'm open to hearing a different perspective. I'm open to conversations. I speak my truth. I believe in my truth, but I don't come from the place that my truth is the absolute truth. And I'm all about empowering others in speaking their own truth. One of the things I have noticed in my own journey to speaking my truth and really not being shy about my beliefs and speaking them up and standing up for what I believe, I'm also open to hearing other people. Obviously, I'm not gonna shut people down who are like I'm not gonna like shut you down or anything, but obviously if I think it's really like completely wrong, like white supremacy, or now if somebody were to tell me, oh yeah, we need to have guns in schools, that I'm not going to agree with. And obviously I'm like, okay, that's your view, but I don't agree with it. So either way, and somebody said, no, Nadjejda is open. And I said, yeah, I'm very open-minded, and I'm always open to conversation and hearing a different perspective. So I read and I gave my view. So came now where Alexis P. Morgan, which is the person I said, I featured her last month and the first 2 episodes last month on white supremacy, law of attraction, and spiritual bypassing. She, at some point, I saw a post when I got back online from my break saying that I need to put on my agenda, I need to write an open letter to Marianne Williamson. So when she shared that, I was like, okay. And Marianne Williamson is like my number one spiritual teacher. Like, she, in some way, I would say I was like being aware. She started me on my spiritual path, on my spiritual journey. So I was like, okay, wow, let's check this one out, because some things had transpired with the Urban Summit. She was supposed to be participating in it. And there was a lot of women of color were calling and speaking out about not a lack of diversity. It got really messy. I wasn't there, but the people deleted their comments. So really, Black women of color, and I don't want to say, it's not just Black, because there's indigenous people, women from the East who were part of this as well. Their comments were deleted. They had really poured themselves and explained why their voices needed to be included, all about inclusion. Their comments were deleted. There was a lot of stuff that happened. And then apparently, eventually, they canceled or postponed the event, so it's not happening, the summit. And somebody reached out to Marianne and said, Marianne Williamson, why are you participating in this when there's a lack of diversity? And her response was like, well, she thinks those people who are doing it need to learn on one end, but she's also not supportive of, like she said, and it's something that I've heard her say in the past, how an extreme left, something along those lines, is just as bad or dangerous as an extreme right. And when I read the comment, I was like, yeah, this is very much Marianne. So I found the open letter that Alexis wrote, 4,000 words. I thought it was very powerful. It even helped me really even understand why she needed to write this and why Marianne needed to be called out for not walking her talk. Because Marianne Williamson is somebody who has apologized for slavery. She's done so many things. She's spoken for liberation and love. She's spoken about reconciliation. She's spoken about really white people owning their privilege and fighting against white supremacy. And for her to make that type of statement towards these women of color who had, put themselves out there and were speaking their truth, I was like, yes, that is totally. And it made me see how, even for myself, whenever I've had those thoughts, because I know I've had them in the past, I also saw, yes, I had a conversation with a family member when I shared with her. I really got what Alexis wrote, because it made me see how I don't condone, I don't say it's okay for people to riot in the streets where there's been police brutality against Black men. Sorry, as you know, I'm home, so that's why this is happening. Yep, so that's what happens when you're home. They knock the door. So yeah, so I got how in the past I've said, when people were like, oh, why are they, they're savages. Why are they burning? Why are they, breaking things, looting? And I'm not for it, but I often say we have to understand people's rage. And it's the same thing. I mean, I wasn't there, but I was saying that these women they have rage, which is justifiable. They are in pain. They are angry. So, and it doesn't mean that they're sorry, they're not coming from a place of love. Actually, they want to be seen. They matter. They want to be included. They don't want to be. And when Marian said that, and I thought, you know what? And I even reached out to, I made a comment on Alexis's thing, and I told her, thank you, because you made me understand the things that myself I was questioning. So with all of that, I realized something, because I couldn't stop from last week with Gabby's post and what transpired when I read Alexis's thing yesterday. And actually, now that you're going to be listening to this on Thursday, so when I read it on Tuesday, I really was like really following. And then I found out Tori had been put in Facebook jail, which we talked. So if you don't familiar with Facebook, basically she wasn't allowed to post anything on her page. She wasn't allowed to go live. She wasn't allowed to post anything on her Facebook groups that she runs. She had to have a partner. So, and she's not the only woman of color who has been blocked by Facebook. She has been blocked in the past. Not her, I'm sorry, Layla Sad, which is another one. And there's been others. And even for myself, it made me think about it. Something happened with one of my Facebook groups that I couldn't really get. I wasn't able to do certain things. I wasn't able to see certain things, and I ended up closing it. I really couldn't get it. And at the time, I remember I was pretty vocal about President Trump, and it made me wonder. Yeah, I was pretty vocal about social justice, but I just kind of let it slide, but I don't even know. So with all of that, I was pretty upset, because like I said, for me, it's like, I was like, wait a minute, I'm all about speaking my truth, and I'm about other people speaking their truth. So this does not sit well with me. And I really felt like I was being called to step up and actually really make it known that my people, the people I'm meant to serve, the people I'm meant to work with, are women who want to become influencers, women who want to be leaders, women who are already leaders but are struggling with sharing their authentic stuff. They don't know where to start. They're struggling with, being, speaking their truth. They're struggling with knowing who they are. That they just know they're here for more. So with all of that transpired, I realized something. I realized how I knew it, because for a long time in the beginning, like a few years ago, when I really started deepening my spiritual practice, I struggled with can I be, love and light? Can I be somebody with a spiritual practice who's really working on herself and learning and really choosing to love and respect everybody, and be political and have the activism as part of a very big part of me? And I made peace with it. But one of the things that I realized recently is that in some way I'd been tiptoeing. I hadn't been very vocal. I hadn't been very clear. And I was still kind of like, yeah, because I remember I said, yeah, my new Facebook group, I'm going to be talking about those things. So in some way, not in every area of my business, but in some areas, I was very much not combining both of them. And here's what I realized. What I realized is that because I'm so passionate about issues that impact humanity, because I'm so passionate about social justice, my people are the people that those are the people that I want to work with. The people who want to make an impact, they don't know how to start, or they're lacking the clarity on their vision. They're not sure they're lacking the confidence in sharing themselves. They don't really know who they are, being their authentic self, sharing and embracing all of them. And so I realized, and I'm so thankful, because what I saw was that, recently I saw something, and that's what I want you to take away from this too, aside from, obviously, I hope you take more from what I've shared, is that they say, I read something the other day, I forgot who it was for, and I think I even saved it. I have to check my phone, but basically I read something not that long ago that says that if you are thinking about something, it cannot leave you. you're constantly thinking about it. You're really like so engaged in it. And I have to say, for me, being being in activist mode, being like, and when I say in activist mode, like, I'm not on the front lines in terms of like protesting or some, I'll go to a protest, but it's not like I'm organizing it. But when it comes to speaking truth around that, when it comes to really supporting those who do, like, it lights me up. When it comes to getting people together for a cause, it really lights me up. Like, it's something that I just love. And what I realized was that I needed to combine the two. I needed to be, those are the people that I'm meant to serve. Obviously, if there are other women who are struggling with embracing who they are, who are struggling with not knowing who you are, because hey, I went through that phase. I'm still learning who I am. I have a pretty good, I know a lot more than I knew before. I have a pretty good foundation, but I'm still evolving. I'm still doing the work in becoming who I really am. And I think that's a big part of it as well. So the thing for you is that so if those women, maybe they don't want to be leaders, but they still want to work with me, that's fine. But I'm really going to be focusing my message mostly on the women who want to become leaders, the women who have a cause that they care about, whether it be social justice, whether it be the environment, and they want to really make a difference and make an impact. Those are the women that I'm going to be serving, because what I realize is that I need to combine both of them. And I'm so thankful because Tori and Alexis and the other women, but those two even more, because we connected at a much deeper level than the other women, because Alexis and I, she was on my podcast, so I got a chance to interview her, to talk to her. We're Facebook friends. Tori and I are Facebook friends. We've been communicating through Facebook. I've seen some of her stuff, and they challenge me. They challenge me. They help me, without knowing it, unpack some of my stuff, and they help me gain the clarity to say, wait a minute, this is really where I need to be. This is really, having women, helping women of color like myself have a voice, be included, having the hard conversations, because like I shared that in my Facebook live yesterday, where I talked about that we need to stand against censorship. We need to stand for people being able to speak their truth. I shared how I felt uncomfortable reading some of the comments. I felt uncomfortable reading some of the posts. I felt uncomfortable at times reading somewhat of Alexis wrote. I felt uncomfortable when I brought her into my podcast and I listen and ask her questions. I felt uncomfortable, but you know what? And here's one of the things that I saw, and that's another thing I want you to take away from this, is that I saw that I can still be Nadjejda with my own truth and my own beliefs, and still embrace somebody else's truth and belief. I can still support them. I can still empower them. I can still inspire. I can still be inspired by them. I can still be challenged by them, and still choose to not do things the way they do it. I can still support them. Which is really being who I am, because we're all different. And that's another thing. I think sometimes, people may feel that in order for me to support somebody, that means I have to agree with everything that they do and every way that they do it. Where no. And for me, I'm all about supporting people and speaking their truth. Maybe the way they speak their truth, some of it may not resonate with me. Some of it may not be in alignment with me. But you know what? Or maybe that's not how I would do things, or I wouldn't do it exactly like this. But that doesn't take away from them, and it doesn't take away from me. I can still embrace them. I can still be inspired by them, and I'm allowing them to challenge me. So that's what I wanted to share. This is what I wanted to share on my podcast this week with you all. Is I want you to take, like I said, do your work. If there's a cause that you are truly passionate about and you can stop thinking about it, because that's what happened to me this week, is that you know that you're supposed to be a big part of it. You know you're supposed to have, and my thing is that I really want these women who feel that they don't have a voice, these women who now maybe they're seeing all of this happening but they're quiet. You know, I know for myself, there's been times where I've felt like, well, you know what, I'm not African American, I did not go through this, so maybe, you know, I'm not the expert. I'll let Alexis speak, I'll let Tori speak, or like Layla Sad speak, or like these other women. No, we all have something to say. So I want you to, you know, what is that thing that for you you're so passionate about and you want to make a difference for? Then know that this thing is probably that thing that you need to follow, and your purpose is a big part of that. And also speak your truth. Know that, and I hope you get to a place where you know that your truth is not absolute. Respect other people's truth, empower them to speak their truth, be okay with that, and also be willing to listen to a different perspective. Allow yourself to be challenged and know that you can be challenged, you can be inspired, you can be empowered by people who may not do things exactly like you, and you don't have to do things like them. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to suddenly say, okay, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do, because you still, basically, you can still be your authentic self. You can still choose to partner, to collaborate, to bring and talk to people who are doing things different than you. Obviously, you need to have, most likely, you have to share the same values. You have to have, you know, believe in the same cause or something. Well, maybe not exactly the same cause, but basically what I'm sharing is that you do need to have certain things in common, but you don't have to agree about everything that they do. And you can still learn from them, because that's what I learned, is that I'm very much inspired by these women. I don't have the, you know, I don't use my platform the way they do, although I want to do use it a lot more like them in a way. But there are, you know, some of the language, some of the things that they say, some of the things that they do, that may not, that's not what I do, and it's totally fine. But we can still be working together towards building up women of color, and that's the case. And for me, towards inspiring and empowering women to talk about and get involved and make an impact in the causes that matter to them. So that's what I want to share with you is, do your work, be you. And if you are a woman who, you know, you're here for more, you're ambitious, and you have a cause, or, you know, or maybe you're like, I have a few things, I don't really know, I can help you get that clarity, but you're struggling to find your voice. You're not sure about who you are. You're still questioning those things. Listen, reach out, send me, you know, if you're watching me on my, and if you're willing, here's the thing, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to invest the time and the money in yourself, in gaining the clarity on your vision, gaining clarity on your mission, which is your purpose? If you're willing to uncover those things, if you're willing to define your values, you're willing to find your voice, to discover who you are, if you're willing to do that, click on you'll see the tab that says work with me, click on it, request a 30 minutes discovery session. It's a free session with me. Coaching is a partnership. So I have to see how I can help you. And also we have to see if we're a good fit. If we are a good fit, then we'll talk about working together. So if you're looking for somebody to support you in your journey, I'd be honored to help you with that. And if you also, you know, if you enjoyed this, and or maybe you're not sure about working with me yet, maybe you want to know more, maybe you don't want to miss any other episodes. If that's you, and, you know, first of all, leave us I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What came up for you? Did anything come up for you? And like I said, if you want to go further, if something stirred in you that you want to explore deeper, that's when you go to that link that says work with me on my website. If you're listening to me via Apple Podcasts, iTunes, click on, visit my website, www.lovelightcoaching.com, www.lovelightcoaching.com. and you'll be able to comment below the video to let me know. You'll be able to also go to the link, the tab that says the menu is on top, the tab that says work with me, and submit your request. Again, like I said, it's free because there's a free consultations for us to see if we're fit and for me to see what's going on with you. And also leave me a comment. If you're on Apple Podcast, leave me a review. Let me know your thoughts. Give it a share. You find it helpful, share it with somebody that you know, because I know there's many of us, especially right now. It's a time for us to really, like, time's up. What do you stand for? You know, this is the thing. What is it that you stand for? Because what you stand for is very much a big part of your mission, especially if it's something that you feel very strongly about. If it's something that you truly make, and like I said, for some of us, it's through our businesses. And some of us, it may not be. You may still want to work a regular 9 to 5, which is fine, but you want to do it on the side. You want to speak. You have a message that you want to share. You have your story. You want to make an impact in your own community. You want to run for office. Hey, we need more, women to run for office. That is something that we need. So let me, may this inspire you to do your work. May it inspire you to start doing maybe it'll give you some confirmation like I did through, asking for guidance. And meditation has been a big part of me gaining clarity and getting that confirmation. Maybe you got your confirmation there, and just keep doing it. And also know that you don't have to do it alone. There's been times I had to do it alone, but I've also hired help. I've invested a lot in myself, because that's another thing. And I have to say, one of the biggest things, for me, some people may be feeling like, maybe some of my coaches and mentors may feel like I may have given too much things on there, although I don't think so. But the biggest thing with coaching is that you get somebody who holds you accountable. You get somebody who really holds you accountable, because how many of us, I know for me, we say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then we don't do it. But when you're working with somebody, that person is holding you accountable. You get it done. When you're stuck, that person gives you that push. When you're lacking the clarity, when fear comes up, that person can help you unpack. That person can help you release the blocks, be aware and release those limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck, that are keeping you from taking action. They're keeping you from taking the right action, because some of it is scary. I mean, let's face it. Sharing who you really are, speaking your truth is scary. But here's the thing. I hope if you're not there, that you get to a place, and I hope also that you get that, make your vision and your dreams and your purpose bigger than your fears. I often say this is what keeps me going. This is why I push the envelope, and I push it and I push it, is because I really have gotten to a place where I don't allow my fears, my vision and my dreams, my purpose, being my authentic self. I make being my highest self more important bigger than my fears. I still experience fear. I just don't allow it to rule me. So until next time, I am sending you some love and light. And also, I forgot to mention, subscribe to my email list if you want more tips and inspiration from me. If you don't want to miss any of these episodes, under the video on my website, after the comment section, or I think it's before, after, I'm not sure right now, you can submit to your name, your email address. That way you don't miss any episodes. Every other Thursday, there's a brand new episode of my podcast. It'll be right in your inbox. And also every Tuesday, I share tips and inspiration via a blog, via regular email, via video with people on my email list. And also you get to know about what's going on with me, any events or any special, anything that I have happening. So hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, love and light. Thank you again, Jay Perry.